Hello, everyone. My guest today is Gadi Eliashiv. He started programming in his teens to help build a successful data startup that exited to Facebook eventually, and currently leads Singular, the top marketing intelligence platform for mobile and cross-platform marketers who need granular insights as well as high-level summaries. All right, Gadi, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah.
All right. Which was the company you sold to Facebook?
It was Navo. We were part of the senior executive team, one of the first employees in the company. And actually, all three founders of my current company are actually part of the Onavo leadership team.
Pronounce it Onavo or spell it?
Yeah, it was always funny. It's Onavo.
Onavo. Okay, good. And was it a fuck you money exit, or was it like an acqui-hire? We need to roll this thing into Facebook exit.
It was actually a really good multiplier. And I don't know. I mean, probably for the founders, it was a serious outcome, but
it didn't make you rich.
Not really.
Fair enough. All right, so let's talk about your current company, Singular. What's the company do, and is it a pure play SaaS company?
Yes, so it's a pure play SaaS company, and basically what we do is we call it marketing intelligence platform, and the concept is that we help companies, especially growth marketers, unify all their marketing data, transform all this data into meaningful insights, and basically optimize their growth. And I'll give you another second. And when we started the company, we just noticed how marketers are just faced with all this data in front of them. There's easily like 100 platforms that big companies use in their marketing suite. And we're just shocked at how hard it is to even answer the most basic questions. And at first we thought maybe it's just us. We looked at our own company back at Onavo and some of our customers. But the more we've talked to companies, the more we realized, oh my God, some of the biggest companies in the States, in Europe, are facing the same problem as what we saw. So that was really exciting to see.
Mm-hmm. And so to help me understand how you're pricing, so what pricing activities do you upsell against, and what's the average customer paying per month, would you say?
The average is, we actually have a nice IACV, so it's about $200K annually, right?
Okay.
So you can,
and just to be clear, that's historical, that's ARPU, not forward-looking what you want to sell ACVs at.
Yes, although it's not. Yes, I mean ideally I'd like every customer to be really big, but we've grown that quite a bit. So when we started, we were about 60K ACV, and we've gone to like 200. And a lot of that growth was how we built our product and how we've been able to add more value over time. It just had functionality, and it's one of the exciting paths that we've chosen is bringing the platform to play and just expanding functionality with customers over time.
Yeah, so Gadi, just to be clear, you're currently in an enterprise, obviously, playbook, right, at a $200,000 ACV. Historically, you were at as low as 60. So when you look at your historical ARPU, the average customer is paying, what, 70, 80, 90 grand a year?
Oh, no. So that's the beautiful part. We've been able to increase that cohort dramatically as well. What we've done is, both from the historical cohorts as well as the new ones,
you'll find 200.
Yeah, like 170, 150, 200. I mean, yeah, that's the range.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and then put this on a timeline for me. When did you launch?
Launched in 2014, in about mid-year or so, in July.
And why 2014? Were you leaving Facebook at that point, or what?
Yeah, so we have a funny story about that. I'll tell you in a sentence. We basically, I was at Onavo, kind of sensed an acquisition is coming, and I felt that's my chance to leave and start a company right now. Otherwise, I'll have golden handcuffs. So
how did you feel that way? How did you know an acquisition was coming?
We were part of the management team, so I was close to the CEO, and we knew at a high level. I didn't know all the details, but we're senior enough to understand that it's coming. But also, I've been in the company for such a long time, and I've known the founders really well. I gave them like a 9 months notice. We were that close.
Just to be clear, didn't you join that team in 2011?
Yes.
So I mean, you were there. I mean, you were only there about a year and a half, almost 2 years, right? So you gave them 9 month kind of runway, but you weren't there a long time.
No, I was I guess a consultant in the beginning, even though I was like full time. I was still studying.
Doesn't that screw them though? If Facebook is in the middle of negotiations to buy them, and they see, assuming you are extremely important, one of the extremely important people giving notice, doesn't that screw the offer?
In a way, every engineer is valuable, and I was a leader of, research, and so it was valuable. But Facebook saw much more than the team. It wasn't an acqui-hire. They bought the business or they bought the data, and so it was meaningful enough where I think I don't think I personally made an impact, or any single employee would make an impact. And even if I did, it was minimal. The CEO was amazing with me. Like he tried to keep me as much as he could. And at some point, I just told him, look, I want to do it now. I want to start a company. I was honest with them from day one, and I said that. And he was fair enough to say, you know what, Gadi, good luck. I'll help you. And he's been helping ever since. So that was awesome.
There was a lot of people that said Facebook did this deal because they wanted an office in Israel. I assume that was probably part of it. But additionally, I mean, Facebook's getting into trouble, some trouble right now in terms of what they're doing on apps that look like they're kind of, consumer facing, will help you use the app more efficiently, but really it's a research tool. I mean, this was really a research tool they were buying, and that's what the value they saw.
I think that they saw value from multiple angles. So I think, yes, the research tool, the data was meaningful. And again, I wasn't that close to the final negotiations and everything that happened. I mean, I left before the acquisition, so my knowledge of what happened after is very limited. But I can only guess that the data was valuable, but also the team members. Like, we built a killer team, and all of our guys.
No, but you can't say that if you're leaving. You can't say the team's really important. And then when I ask you, well, why didn't the value decrease when you left? Then say, well, no, I wasn't important. I was as head of research.
No, it's not to say I wasn't important. It's just that I don't think that I, as a single person, as important as I was, and I think that I was very important.
How many people were on the team at the point?
How many? Sorry.
How many people were on the team when you sold?
Wow, I don't remember. Maybe 100.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Let's focus back. Let's focus back on you. So 2014, you sense an acquisition's coming. You leave. 2014, you launch Singular. So you've had 4 or 5 years now doing this. How many customers have you scaled to?
About 150, 200, something like that.
Okay, and walk me through the first 5. This is like where you're hustling your ass off. These are the fun moments. How'd you get the first 5?
Wow, that's crazy. So we first when we started the company based in Israel, and we officially started the company in the US. I had one co-founder in the US, me and another co-founder in Israel. And when we started the company, one of the things we did was just start by going to local customers in Israel. And I remember the first time they actually made fun of us that we don't even have an entity. But the goal for us was just to come in and ask them some questions.
Who'd you go into?
We usually went to heads of marketing, VPs of marketing back then.
No, but what was the company?
There's a company called Get Taxi, or now it's called Get, which is like a Lyft competitor.
And how'd you network your way into the head of marketing there?
It's funny. I guess, I've known some mutual people. I've asked for introduction. I mean, early days as an entrepreneur, you just got to use whatever network you have, even if it's very slim, and you kind of build it from there. I think we even, in the really early days, what we did was we put a self-service mock-up of the product on the web, and we answered some questions on Quora. And people were asking, how do I look at my ROI? How do I even understand what's going on in my marketing? And we're like, oh, you should use Singular. And so people would come in sort of just their self-service portal. They would connect all their different technologies, which is like the kind of the beginning of the onboarding of our product. And then we'll show them a page saying, oh, we'll contact you to talk about the remaining of the onboarding. So some of the leads came that way. And really the first 5 customers were just using our network, or maybe some inbound.
Did you close Get Taxi?
Yeah, they're actually customer number 1.
That's awesome. All right, Gadi, that's good stuff. So, can I take 150 customers times that ACV you gave me earlier to back into revenue? Is that accurate? That would put you at about 2.1 million a month right now.
Yeah, probably wouldn't comment on that, but.
Well, I'm taking your numbers. You already commented. You said 150 customers, and earlier you said $170,000 ACV historical average. That would put you at it's multiplication. That would put you at 2.1 million a month.
Yeah, you can put something in that range, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just correct them though if they're wrong. Are one of the numbers you already gave me not accurate, or higher or lower?
No, it's just there's different. I guess that the way I factor the tiers. No, it's actually it's not inaccurate. So yeah, I just don't want it to be quoted on your on your website, if that's okay.
Well, no, it's fine. But I just want to make sure. So you've broken 2 million a month at this point. That would mean you have 150 customers at $170,000 ACV on average.
Yeah,
that's great.
I give you ranges. I said 150 to 200. I said 150 to 200 customers. So you kind of can use that ballpark for the higher or lower ends. as you
Well,
wish.
yeah.
It's
So
just,
then, look, I want to do the most conservative. So then we'll go down to $150,000 ACV with your minimum 150 customers. That would put you out, call it 1.8 a month, something like that.
yeah.
Will you break 2 million a month this year, you think, or you still that's too far out?
No, we will.
You will. Okay. And what's the growth look like? So if you're call it 1.8, a month today, where were you a year ago?
We were growing. Last year was actually really strong. And what we've done last year was we even acquired a company, which is something I never thought I would.
Well, hold on. Let's focus on that. Yeah. We'll go back to. We'll dive into that in a second. But so you're doing 1.8 today. What were you doing a year ago, January 2018?
God, let me see the numbers. I'm pretty sure that we've either reached 100% or close to 100%.
So you were doing like $900,000 a month about a year ago.
See, yeah. It's funny. You're asking me about the month, and our CFO for the last 6 months is kicking my ass to talk ARR. So if you want to talk to Neil, we're not thinking monthly anymore. But yeah, something like, maybe more than that. If I'm looking at your numbers, like 900 times 12, probably more than that. But yes.
Okay, that was a very confusing answer. Have you doubled year over year?
Last year, yes.
Okay, good. So that would have taken you from about $900,000 a month in January of 2018 to about 1.8 million a month today, and call it February 2019.
Yeah.
Where did most of the growth come? Where did most of the growth come from? Expansion revenue on historical cohorts or brand new customer additions?
A lot of upsells, actually. I would say more like 40% from upsells and 60% from new revenue. And so one of the things that we've seen is a lot of our historical cohorts have been growing, but also some of the new customer acquisition we've done just landed customers at a higher size to begin with. So
Yep, no, that makes a lot of sense. Now, have you funded the company or have you stayed bootstrapped?
No, definitely funded. So we had 3 rounds of funding, total of 50. Our most recent round was from West Venture Partners. You've actually met Scott Bichek. I think you've interviewed him.
What do you think, by the way? Did you like it? I thought he did good. I think he let me hit him a little bit, but I thought he did well.
Yeah. I saw that interview and I realized you're asking the hard questions.
yeah. But that's why you came on. You like a challenge. You're an Israeli. I mean, you like a good, you like to combat a little bit. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we love Scott. He's an incredibly good VC, and I'm not just saying that because he may listen.
You're talking about with Northwest, right?
Yes, I mean, but it's even beyond the brand. I mean, Northwest is great. We had General Catalyst before, top tier VCs, but Scott's just making such an impact on the business, from like recruiting executives to helping us make decisions in the business. He's involved with the strategy, and he's amazing. And he's not too pushy, but he's there when you need him.
Was he in your seed back in July of 2014, or did they lead the B in September 18?
They led the B. So GC was the first investor, then we did an EA, then we got Northwest joining the B and lead that.
Yeah, no, that makes good sense. Okay, so 50 raised, and then what's the team size today? How many folks?
150.
All in San Fran?
Nope. We have about 50, 60 in US. Then we have a big team in Israel, about 70 folks in Tel Aviv. And then we have international offices pretty much in Japan, in Korea, in London, sort of in Europe, in India. And so, you'll see a few, like between 5 and 10 in each region, maybe a bit less, depending on how the numbers add up.
That's good. Gadi, churn's critical. Talk to me about how you're measuring churn and how you use it to guide the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, one of the key goals is every quarter when you look at the amount that we have for renewals, if we have an assumption of, let's say, up to 10%, which is, I guess, the more conservative approach of that revenue to be churned, we also have a team of account managers whose job is to kind of complement that from the existing base and cover that with upsells. And so that's usually our goals. It's like, assuming 10% is going to go away. What we're doing is, and I think that it's been working really well for us, is the more we expand with the product within a single company, the more important we become, and then the less likely they will churn. The reasons I've seen for churn so far are companies going under. So some of the smaller deal sizes we had are like companies saying, okay, we stopped marketing, we fired the team, or we just don't have money anymore. And that's really painful sometimes. But again, it's like a 40K deal or 50K deal. So these are the smaller types. And then the only instances where I've seen really big contracts go away is when one company gets acquired by another company, and that company sometimes is our customer. So then it kind of screws us, because that big entity is like, oh, I already have a massive contract with Singular, So let's lump that in, and then they get the benefit of scale. And so I guess.
So Gadi, just to be clear, sorry, before we go way down this thing here, you assume that basically you have 10% revenue churn annually. That's on a gross basis. You have a team dedicated towards covering that hole with expansion. So you have 10% expansion per year on the historical cohort, not including new customer additions, which means you have about 100% net revenue retention annually.
No, so that's the goal. The actual net retention cohorts they've been over 125% last time I looked at them.
So why would your goal be to go down?
The assumption is to stay constant, so that the goal is pretty conservative, and it's we obviously that's kind of the goals that you report as a company. So you assume it's not going down. Actually, we said 100%, right? So it should stay the same. So every quarter, there's let's say $1 million coming up for renewal. You assume that 10% may go away. So you want to cover at least 10% back, or let's say $1 million, $100,000 can churn. You want to do another 100,000 at least in upsells. Now, in most quarters, we beat that. I think we've always been net negative churn except one quarter.
Yeah, but Gadi, you understand my point, right? You basically just told me your goal is to cover 10% losses with 10% expansion, but you're already crushing that goal. Why would you have a goal that's worse than where you already are? Don't you want to push yourself and have a goal that's you want to get to 130% net revenue retention?
You're right. I just think that in the past, I've seen where aggressive goals applied some pressure on customers, and I didn't like that. And
yeah,
so
but I'm just saying this is just about goal setting in general. You have a goal that you've already beat. So why is the goal not up? That's what I'm just trying to understand. Why don't you update the goal?
No, it's a good question. I think that there's multiple factors, and one could argue maybe we should make it more aggressive. The first one is kind of be fair with the AEMs, and is it something that they can achieve? Also, sometimes our upsells are a bit. It's not all on the AEM. So what I told you is basically the sales account manager, but some upsells are complex and require an AE. So now it blends between the
or
goals
customer success.
Exactly. And so, you're kind of catching me on technicalities, but really for the AM, it's the 10%. And then we assume in our model that there's more growth out of the existing base. And I don't remember exactly this number.
So what you really have, your actual numbers today, ignore your goals. Your actual goals are you're churning about 10% revenue churn annually. That's on a gross basis. You're expanding your team, whether it's the AE, the CS guy, the SDR, whoever the hell it is, 35% expansion from that cohort. So your net revenue retention over the past 12 months was called 125%.
I'm losing you, I think. Can you repeat that?
I was just saying your actual data is you have 10% revenue churn annually, right, per year, right? You have 30% expansion per year. So you have 125% net revenue retention. That's your actual metrics over the past 12 months.
Yes.
Or around there.
More. The last 12 months, probably even more. Some of the cohorts have been very strong, especially because of some product expansions that we've done.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, what are the top 3 pricing levers your team is able to use to drive expansion? So it's feature add-ons. What else? Number of seats. Is there a value-based metric, API calls, something like that?
No, so we like to measure based on data, and the best proxy we have for most of our contracts is the amount of marketing budget that the company has. Why? Because this translates into all the different objects that we capture, campaigns, creatives, users, events, blah, blah, blah. We don't really want to quantify all of them, so we take a proxy as their marketing budget. And so companies that succeed normally expand that budget year over year, and that's one, I guess, organic.
So they'll tell you their total marketing budget, and then you price them against what they tell you their marketing budget is?
It's more of an allotment that they assign ahead in advance. It's almost like, think about how many seats you're going to buy at the beginning of the year, and then you can increase that over the year, of course, and there's different pricing for that. But also, you got to remember, as the marketing infrastructure, we're going to see everything, right? So part of our job is to measure that information.
But they're not actually putting the dollars through you, right? You're just tying into the platforms they put the dollars through to get the intelligence. Is that right?
Yes, but it means that we have the visibility into that. And so it's not really a percentage of their marketing budget, but more of in a way, you could back it out to some effective rate.
Well, no, really, how do you overcome this objection? Gadi, this thing's working so well, we're tripling our market budget next year. And then your AE replies back, great, we're going to triple your ACV. That's how we get our expansion revenue. I'm going to go, wait, fuck you. I'm not paying you more just because we're doing better. Like, we're going to keep paying you the flat fee. I mean, how do your people respond to that?
Well, first of all, I think that most companies would probably wouldn't be as aggressive, but you're right. Maybe an Israeli company will tell me that. and I think the answer is pretty simple. We can just show them how much data we need to process. I mean, our system captures data from every every area you can imagine. So it means probably more users, right? Because you don't want to spend 3x and have the same amount of users, right? It probably means that these users will generate more events. It probably means you'll have more campaigns, at least, some percentage of campaigns. It probably means you'll have more variations, or maybe
Okay,
you'll
so
need
you're
more
pricing against these things, not the actual spend. You're just assuming spend as a leading indicator of these things you just mentioned.
Exactly, but the problem is for us, and I think you'll see it across other companies, it's hard to come to a company and say, oh, our pricing is based on 15,000 variables. We'll tell you at the end of the year how much it's going to cost.
Of course.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Proxy. Some other options would be counting based on DAU or MAU or number of events you set, but they're not really representing everything that we capture.
Got it. Marketing budget. Makes sense. So look, hey, we're out of time. So quick answers here if you can. Fully weighted CAC to get a new $150,000 ACV account. How aggressive are you being?
What do you mean aggressive?
Fully weighted CAC. Are you spending all of first year revenue to get the customer in the first place, or 18-month payback, or what?
It's very aggressive. Probably even more, like maybe $1.2 to $1.
Okay, so you got about like maybe a 15-month payback then, $1.20 in to get $1 new ARR.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And then talk to me here about growth, right? So what do you hope to grow out this year?
Hopefully the same. So at least 75% and above. And this year I need to hire a CRO. The team is scaled dramatically. So there's a few key hires we're going to make. But yeah.
Good. All right, let's wrap up with the famous 5. One word answers here if you can. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
The Hard Things About Hard Things.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Steve Jobs.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the company?
For building the company?
Yep.
Google Drive.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I have a newborn, so between 4 and 6, I guess.
Jeez, okay. And so married and how many kids?
Married, 1 kid, just bought a house, renovating, so all fun things at once.
You're a busy man. How old are you?
32.
30 what?
32.
32. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
What would I, sorry?
What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
The importance of sales leadership.
Guys, sales are important. Coming from, again, Gadi launched Singular.net when he realized his company back in 2013 was going to exit to Facebook. He didn't want the golden handcuffs, so he spun out and launched Singular.net. Now 150 customers, enterprise customers, paying on average 150 grand per year. So they're doing about 1.8 million a month right now, up from 900 grand a month just a year ago. So doubling year over year, good growth rate there. They've raised $50 million to do this. 150 people based in San Fran, Israel, and remote locations. Again, marketing intelligence platform. Really, again, a unified marketing, data intelligence, insight, and automation tool set here. 10% revenue churn annually. That's gross. 35% expansion. So call it 125% net revenue retention. In terms of CAC aggressiveness, $1.20 in to get a new $1 in ARR and call it a 15-month payback period there. Gadi, thanks for taking us to the top.
Yeah. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.